Even as we were finishing Burnout Takedown, we were kind of thinking about where we can take it. There's a lot of frustration with things like the traffic, you know, because you've got such a fluid kind of race as you go through all the Burnout 3 tracks and things, but we were getting more and more into the kind of aggression side of things. You know, we introduced the whole road rage thing in 3, and so it was like kind of, right, well, where can we take that? How can we maximize that? So we started looking at the tracks, we started looking at aggression, different ways that we could use the takedown, and it all started building up towards that real core emotion of revenge, essentially. And it's, you know, we kind of got into a lot of the rivalry thing. You know, we were all kind of playing around the office, and it's all about calling out your rivals, essentially, and going, right, I see you, I'm going to get you, and I'm going to take you down. So it all started feeding off the aggression. So it was about how we could reinvent the aggression with it. We want to reward that. We want to reward people for fighting dirty, basically, for underhand tactics, for being as naughty as they possibly can. And we've built the environments for them to do that now. We've got traffic checking in there as well, which personally I take great pleasure in doing. But yeah, I guess it does come out from the rivalry between players and obviously in the game. And I think that what we really wanted to do was really kind of make that the core of the game, to really kind of call out who are your rivals, to really kind of maximize the aggression coming out of people, that to really kind of get down to their emotional kind of viciousness and allow it to blossom on the road. So revenge is all about fighting dirty and being rewarded. It's all about taking control of the road. It's not about winning, it's about winning with superiority. And if someone messes with you, you mess back with them right harder. So essentially, the revenge meter is how we measure your aggression. And aggression means progression throughout the game. That unlocks everything in the game, the new cities, the new cars, everything that you need to get on in the game. And essentially, it's about unleashing your inner hooligan. So there are two ways that you can play it. You can either play it that you dominate the road in terms of, you know, nobody's going to get past you, you're going to take down everybody, you're going to dominate all the cars, or, you know, you have a bit of a tussle with the AI and you get your revenge takedown. Now what you can do is you can kind of soften them up, so you can do a few slams and shunts, and then you're going to make it a lot easier to take down. But ultimately, the two big payoffs in terms of the revenge meter are dominating and your actual revenge takedowns or slams and shunts. With B3, I think that was one of the frustrations, was that you could, you know, if you hit the traffic, you kept crashing and things. So I think it was a really cool element that we turned something that was a frustration potentially, or was slightly annoying in the last game, to something that became an asset in Revenge. Because really now you can use the traffic to clear a path through any kind of cross traffic. There are rules, of course, to checking traffic, which is like body checking in hockey. So when you check traffic, you can check all traffic on the road apart from oncoming, no buses and no big rigs, essentially. If it's huge, don't risk it. And if it's coming straight at you, it's a no-no as well. So essentially, with traffic now, you can clear paths through cross-traffic. Did I mention you can't do cross-traffic as well? Yeah, that's a big no-no as well, highly dangerous. And you can use it as a weapon. And then, of course, we've got our all-new traffic attack mode, which is pretty awesome, where you just basically crunch your way through reams of rush hour traffic. And the objective of the game is to cause as many pile-ups, as big a wreck as you possibly can, kind of combos with that as well. So perhaps you could kind of crash into an estate or something, and that will smash into a bus, which might go onto oncoming and create havoc on the roads. That's what it's all about, big destruction. Loads of new takedowns. I mean, apart from the traffic takedown, obviously, we've got the tracks, which are now built for fighting. So the tracks are a really big revolution in Burnout, because the B3 tracks were really about speed, they were about racing, they had these beautiful long drifting corners, and they were really fantastic to race around. But there weren't as many kind of aggressive or battling opportunities as we wanted really for Revenge, because Revenge is all about kind of aggression, and it is about the battling, and it is about that kind of core. So for us, the track team looked at a lot of films. We studied loads of films, we studied loads of car chases, loads of crashes and destruction and things, and we looked at cities that would offer us that potential kind of for mass destruction. And so now the courses, they are absolutely built for battling. So we've got things like alternate routes, which could lead you down some scary place, like if you've seen on the Detroit track under the freeway, it's full of pillars and quite a hairy place to get through. We've got choke points, we've got dead stops, and we've got loads of awesome jumps as well, which lead straight onto the track and allow you to land on top of your rivals and give you vertical takedowns, which is really pleasing. I'm really glad that you said that they still feel like burnout tracks, because that's really important to us, that we keep a kind of core essence of what burnout is and that we really kind of build on that. But yeah, what we wanted to do is, because revenge is such a kind of gritty emotion, we really wanted to reflect that in the visual identity of the game. So we wanted to bring it a bit more sophisticated look. We really wanted to differentiate the tracks and give them a lot of personality. So you've seen the Detroit track. I mean, these are called out as cities, but they're not actually, you're not going to be able to follow a map around these cities. These are flavours of the city. So the Detroit track is kind of really dark and dusty and sort of smoggy and, you know, really quite full on. And then, you know, there'll be the Tokyo track, which is a nighttime track, and you kind of speed through the freeways and the tunnels. And it's much more like a kind of clean freeway that you'll get going past Shibuya or Shinjuku. So each track is kind of very individual, and that's really kind of added to the whole Burnout look. We have our own car designers now, so the cars are designed specifically for Burnout. We've got some really talented guys on the case as well. But what we really looked at, and one of the things that you mentioned actually, funnily enough, is about ownership and also about really differentiating the cars as well. And so we really kind of thought about, well, what kind of cars do we need for Revenge? So we looked at, we've got now 3 car classes. So we've got racer, we've got muscle, and we've got stunt cars. So I'll tell you a bit about racer and the muscle cars. So racers, they're much leaner, they're much faster, they are much more about speed, obviously, and then the muscle cars are much more built for battling. So they're the perfect kind of traffic attack car. We're not really doing a lot of the decal work, because it's not really Burnout style. We just want to smash up our cars and have lots of fun with them. I'd just like to add, I just want to say as well, with the cars, we've really upped the deformation on the cars these times. When you crash the cars, they absolutely smash to smithereens. We've got loads of more bones in the cars, and we do totally destroy them, and it's a beauty to watch and to play. Well, the B3 tracks, they were much more kind of race-led. They were very like long drifting corners. They were kind of quite tunnelish in the way that you would sort of, you know, that's it. You go down the track and that's it. But really, with the B4 tracks, it is all about alternate routes, choke points, hard stops, all these things built for battling. And the awesome jumps. We've got some fantastic air in there as well, which is really cool. And then the ultimate satisfaction of landing on top of your rival, particularly if they've got a little red marker and it's a revenge takedown, and you get the vertical takedown, it's a real pleasure. If you're particularly having a lot of tussles with a lot of rivals, I can tell you that you'll unlock certain events, like you can unlock a grudge match. It is very much about the sort of race versus aggression, and if you take him down 3 times, I mean, he's going to be hardcore, or if you beat him at the race, then you unlock his car. So it's very much about how all that aggression feeds into the revenge meter, how you access different levels and special events. I could talk a lot more about special events, but I'm not really at liberty to right now. Yeah, I mean, we're looking at a lot of the camera work at the moment, but definitely takedown camera and the aftertouch. You'll be able to play around with the aftertouch camera a little bit more, so you have a bit more kind of freedom in how you access it. And of course, we've got the crash breaker in race, which is the ultimate payback. So if somebody takes you down, you have some boost, you can just explode them as they whiz past you, or the next guy who comes along, whoever takes your fancy really, but it's an awesome feature. So Revenge is a bigger, badder, louder, crashier. It's got more wrecks, more pile-ups, you can check the traffic. Crash mode is like golf with cars, and we've got the awesome all-new traffic attack mode, which is a definite winner.